There's this moment, and maybe you know it, when you walk away from a conversation and think, am I losing my mind? You were sure of what you saw, what you heard, how you felt, but now you're doubting yourself. You start replaying it in your head, twisting it around, wondering if you're too sensitive, too emotional, too much. That feeling, that deep, confusing self-doubt isn't random. It's not weakness. It's actually a sign you've encountered gaslighting. Gaslighting is psychological manipulation that makes you question your own reality, your memory, even your sanity. And it's more common than we think at work, in friendships, in families, in relationships. Today, I want to talk about the real psychology behind gaslighting, and more importantly, how we can resist it without losing ourselves. First, gaslighting preys on our deepest human needs. As humans, we are wired for connection. We are wired to seek belonging. It's in our DNA. Thousands of years ago, belonging to a group literally meant survival, and being cast out meant danger, even death. Today, that hardwiring is still in us. Emotional connection isn't just a nice to have, it's a biological need. When someone gaslights us, they're not just messing with the facts or the details of a conversation. They're tapping into that deep primal need we have to belong and to be seen. And they turn it against us. They make us believe that in order to stay connected, in order to keep the peace, in order to hold on to love, we have to let go of our own truth. That's why it feels so confusing. That's why it feels so painful. It's not just about whether or not you remembered a conversation right. It's about whether you are still safe in the relationship, whether you are still worthy of love and belonging if you stand by what you know to be true. And here's the thing, most of us don't even realize it's happening in the moment. When I was first learning about gaslighting in my own research, I expected to find clear, obvious patterns, big red flags, easy to spot. But what I found instead were these slow, subtle shifts. Moments where people told me I thought I was going crazy. I thought it was me. Moments when they started apologizing for having feelings, for having memories, for needing clarity. Moments when they shrank themselves to stay connected. The truth is, people who gaslight are often very skilled at targeting exactly what we fear the most: being wrong, being difficult, being left out, being unloved. They know that questioning ourselves feels safer in the short term than questioning the relationship. So we choose doubt over disconnection. But let's be clear about something. That choice doesn't mean we're weak. It means we're human. It means our brains and hearts are doing exactly what they were built to do: protect us. The psychologist Jennifer Freyd coined the term betrayal blindness. It's the way our minds protect us from fully seeing betrayal when the cost of seeing it feels too high. Sometimes the mind chooses to stay confused because facing the full reality would mean facing deep grief, loss, or fear. Betrayal blindness isn't a failure of courage, it's a survival skill. So if you've ever stayed too long, doubted yourself too much, silenced your own truth just to keep a relationship alive, I want you to hear this. You weren't weak, you were surviving. You were doing what your body and brain thought you needed to do to stay safe. But here's the hope. Survival is not the same as thriving. Once we start to see the patterns clearly, once we name what's happening without shame, we begin to reclaim our power. We begin to trust that real connection, healthy connection, doesn't require the abandonment of our own reality. Because here's what I know for sure. Any relationship that demands the sacrifice of your truth, your feelings, your memories, is asking for something you were never meant to give up. Second, the confusion you feel is not a failure, it's a warning signal. I used to think if I was confused, it was because I didn't understand something well enough. That if I just listened harder, explained myself better, or gave more grace, the confusion would clear itself up. I believe confusion was a reflection of my own shortcomings. Like I wasn't smart enough, calm enough, emotionally mature enough. But here's what I've learned both from research and from my own lived experiences. Confusion, especially the kind that leaves you questioning your memory, your emotions, your basic sense of reality, is often a tool used by manipulators to gain control. It's not an accident. It's not a glitch in the relationship. It's the feature. Gaslighting creates confusion on purpose. And here's why. When you're confused, you're easier to manage. You're less likely to challenge, less likely to advocate for yourself, less likely to walk away. In the moment of confusion, most of us naturally try to make sense of things by looking inward first. We assume the problem must be us, that we misheard, misunderstood, overreacted. That reflex, that instinct to self-blame, gives the gaslighter more space to rewrite the narrative. Confusion isn't weakness. It's not proof that you're wrong or broken. It's your body sounding an alarm. Something here isn't lining up. Something here is wrong. When I first realized this, it was like a light bulb turning on inside of me. I remember conversations where someone would say something cruel, and then when I reacted, they would immediately deny ever saying it, or they'd tell me I was too emotional, too sensitive. Instead of trusting my gut, that sinking feeling that something didn't add up, I used to double down on doubting myself. What research shows, and what so many people I've worked with have confirmed, is that emotional manipulators are masters of ambiguity. They twist words, they deny clear facts, they act shocked that you would even suggest something's wrong. And every time you engage with their confusion, every time you try to prove your reality to them, you get pulled deeper into their game. So when you feel that confusion rise up, when your chest tightens, when your mind starts spinning trying to figure it out, I want you to see that moment not as a signal to lean in and try harder. I want you to see it as a moment to pause, to breathe, to ask yourself, what do I know to be true right now? Because gaslighting thrives in confusion, but clarity is its enemy. You don't have to argue. You don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to gather evidence or plead your case. You are allowed to trust your own experience. Confusion doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you misunderstood. It means your spirit, your intuition, your heart, they're sending you a message. Pay attention, protect your peace, choose yourself. Third, trusting yourself is an act of courage, not arrogance. When I first started digging into the research around trust, I thought about it mostly in terms of other people, how we decide who is trustworthy, how we build trust in our relationships, how we rebuild it when it's broken. But there's a part of trust we don't talk about enough, and that's trusting ourselves. And let me tell you, trusting yourself, especially after you've been gaslighted or manipulated, can feel almost impossible. It's like trying to build a house on ground that's been shaken by an earthquake. Everything feels unstable. Every step forward feels risky. And here's what makes it even harder. We live in a culture that often shames certainty when it comes from within. We're taught that being sure of yourself is somehow arrogant, selfish, inflexible. Especially if you're someone who's been taught your whole life to prioritize harmony over truth, to make peace, not waves. The idea of saying, no, I know what I know, can feel almost rebellious. But here's the truth. Trusting yourself isn't arrogance. It's resilience. It's survival. It's the quiet, grounded belief that your experiences matter, that your feelings are real, that your memory is valid, that your instincts are wise. When someone tries to gaslight us, what they're really trying to do is sever the connection between our experiences and our sense of self. They want us to hand over our inner compass and say, here, you decide what's real for me. Trusting yourself is how you take that compass back. It's how you say, I might not have all the answers, but I know when something feels wrong. I know when my body tightens, when my heart sinks, when my spirit whispers, this isn't right. And listen, this doesn't mean you never second guess yourself. Healthy self-trust doesn't mean being 100% sure 100% of the time. It means that even when doubt shows up, and it will, You meet it with curiosity, not contempt. It means you can ask yourself, is there something I need to learn here, without immediately assuming that you must be wrong, broken, or crazy. One of the things I remind myself, especially in hard conversations, is this: the people who love me, who are safe for me, will never punish me for trusting myself. They might disagree with me, they might offer a different perspective, but they won't mock me, they won't belittle me, they won't twist my words to make me doubt my own mind. When you start trusting yourself again, it can feel lonely at first, because trust is a boundary. And boundaries, real, healthy ones, often reveal who was only comfortable with us when we were easy to control. But over time, something beautiful happens. You start attracting people who are drawn not to your compliance, but to your clarity. People who value your voice, not just your silence. People who want connection with the real you, not just the version of you that makes their life easier. So if you are rebuilding your trust in yourself after confusion, manipulation, or betrayal, know this: every time you say, I trust what I felt, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs you something, you are coming home to yourself. You are practicing one of the greatest acts of courage there is. Fourth, boundaries are your lifeline, not a luxury. For a long time, I thought boundaries were optional, like accessories, nice to have if you could manage them, but not really essential, especially if you grew up in a family or community where love was conditional, or where speaking up was seen as disrespectful. It's easy to believe that setting boundaries is selfish, that protecting your energy makes you cold, that asking for respect makes you demanding. But here's what I know now, not just from research, but from walking this road myself. Boundaries aren't just helpful, they are life-saving. They are a non-negotiable part of living with courage and integrity. When someone is gaslighting you, the first thing they attack is your sense of boundaries. They tell you that your feelings are wrong. They tell you that your version of events didn't happen. They tell you that what you need, what you deserve, is too much. And without strong, clear boundaries, it's so easy to start believing them. It's so easy to hand over your truth just to keep the peace. But peace that costs you your dignity isn't peace. It's submission. One of the biggest shifts in my life came when I realized that setting boundaries wasn't about pushing people away. It was about choosing myself without apology. It was about saying, I will no longer participate in conversations where my reality is denied, or I will no longer stay silent just to make other people comfortable. And setting those boundaries, especially at first, can feel brutal. It can feel like you're betraying the very people you love. It can feel like you're being mean or unforgiving or even dramatic. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to with both hands. Boundaries are the way you honor yourself. They are the way you protect your spirit, your sanity, and your right to exist in spaces where you are safe and seen. One of the things I always tell people is that a healthy boundary is not about controlling someone else's behavior. It's about being really clear on what you will and won't allow into your life. It's about saying, I can't control whether you choose to gaslight me, but I can control whether I stay in conversations that make me doubt my worth. And the beautiful thing is, boundaries are not walls. They're bridges. They don't sever connection, they make real connection possible. Because when we are clear about what is and isn't okay with us, we invite people into relationship with our authentic selves, not the masked, exhausted, resentful versions we create when we're boundaryless. Setting boundaries with gaslighters often means accepting that some people will leave. Some people will rage. Some people will double down on trying to confuse you or shame you back into compliance. And that's hard. It hurts, but it also reveals who was in your life for your truest self and who was only there for the version they could control. Every time you set a boundary, you are not pushing love away. You are clearing the path for real love, love that sees you, honors you, and never demands that you erase yourself to earn it. Fifth, healing is not about erasing the past. It's about rewriting the story you tell yourself about it. When we've been gaslighted, manipulated, made to doubt the very ground we stand on, it's easy to think the only way to heal is to somehow forget it happened. We think if I could just erase the memory, if I could just pretend it didn't hurt, maybe then I could move on. But healing doesn't work like that. Our experiences, even the painful ones, live in our bodies, our hearts, our nervous systems. Pretending they didn't happen doesn't free us from them. It actually traps us inside them even longer. What does set us free is choosing to tell the story differently. Choosing to tell the story from a place of courage, not shame. Choosing to move from, I was so stupid to believe them, to, I was doing my best with the information I had, and my capacity to trust is not a flaw, it's a strength. Choosing to move from, I should have seen it coming, to, I was brave enough to hope, and that says everything about my heart and nothing about my worthiness. Mm-hmm. Gaslighting tries to convince us that our experiences don't matter. Healing demands that we say they do, that we gather up the broken pieces and stitch them into something new, not perfect, but deeply honest. That we claim the right to grieve what we lost without giving up on what we can still build. One of the most powerful things I've learned, and I have to relearn it almost every day, is that we don't heal by waiting for someone else to validate our pain. We heal by bearing witness to our own story. But we heal by saying, this happened, it hurt, and it does not define me. We heal by refusing to carry this shame that doesn't belong to us. And listen, rewriting this story doesn't mean pretending it was all for the best. It doesn't mean minimizing the damage. It doesn't mean slapping a silver lining on a wound that's still bleeding. It means giving yourself permission to see yourself as the protagonist of your own story, not the victim of someone else's lies. It means remembering that survival is not the whole story. It's what happens after survival, the rebuilding, the reclaiming, the returning to yourself, that writes the most powerful chapters. And maybe the most hopeful thing I can tell you is this. The fact that you're even here, listening, breathing, wanting something better, that's proof that the story isn't over. It's proof that whatever has been done to you doesn't get to have the last word. You get to choose the words that shape your future. You get to choose truth over silence. You get to choose self-trust over self-blame. You get to choose love over fear. And every time you lean into that choice, even when it feels shaky or small, you are writing a story of resilience. A story that no gaslighter, no manipulator, no one who ever tried to diminish you can erase. So here's what I want to leave you with. Gaslighting is real. It's painful. It can fracture your sense of self in ways that feel irreversible, but it's not the end of your story. There is nothing wrong with you for having believed someone you loved. There is nothing weak about needing clarity. And there is nothing more courageous than choosing to come back to yourself again and again with tenderness and truth. The psychology behind gaslighting might be built on power and control, but the path out of it that's built on compassion, courage, and boundaries. Well, it's built on honoring your feelings, trusting your perceptions, and standing in your truth, even when your knees are shaking. It's built on saying, I matter. My story matters. My voice matters. You are not too sensitive. You are not too emotional. You are not overreacting. You are waking up. You are rising. And you are remembering who you were before someone tried to make you forget. We don't heal by pretending it didn't happen. We heal by telling the truth, by writing a new ending. And by choosing every day to believe that we are worthy of love, of respect, and of being heard. That's the work. And it's hard, but it's also holy. So if no one has told you today, I see you. I believe you. And I am so proud of the way you're fighting to reclaim your voice. Keep going. You are not alone.